Welcome to another deep dive. This time we're going to be looking at some really cool stuff. Um, AI-powered drones.
Oh, yeah, some really fascinating stuff.
You guys sent us a bunch of articles and research papers, and we're
Right.
going to break it all down for you today.
I think what's most interesting is how AI is really changing how drones operate.
Like they can do more on their own.
Yeah, instead of needing a person to control them all the time, we're starting to see more autonomous drones.
So they can fly themselves.
Exactly. And it doesn't mean humans aren't needed anymore. It's more like the AI is giving them a helping hand.
That makes sense.
Like, think about it. One of the coolest things AI can do with drones is anomaly detection.
Anomaly detection.
Yeah, so imagine like inspecting power lines for damage.
Oh, wow, yeah.
It'd take forever for a human to check miles and miles of power lines, but a drone with AI,
It could do it way faster.
like way faster.
But how does the AI actually see the problems, like the anomalies?
It's basically like teaching a computer to see patterns. We give it tons of data, like images of power lines, some damaged, some not, and the AI.
Learns to see what's wrong.
Exactly. So if the drone sees like a broken insulator or a frayed wire,
It knows there's a problem.
yep, it flags it instantly.
That's awesome. And this works for other stuff too, right?
Yeah.
Like inspecting bridges or pipelines.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. One of the articles actually talks about 5 ways drones can use AI to find anomalies.
5 different ways. Wow.
Yeah, and like in construction, AI can analyze data to predict problems like a building settling unevenly before it gets really bad.
Oh, wow. So it's like preventative.
Yeah, exactly.
That's incredible. So we have drones with AI that can see problems a human might miss. But how does that actually work? Like the AI part,
Well, a big part of it is something called deep learning.
deep learn.
It's this type of machine learning where you train artificial neural networks on huge amounts of data.
Neural networks are those like modeled after the human brain.
Yeah, exactly. So it's basically mimicking how we learn, which lets them recognize really complex patterns.
So the drone can actually make decisions based on what it sees.
Exactly. It's not just following a set of pre-programmed rules.
That's wild.
It is, and that's where things get really cool because when you combine deep learning with real-time data processing,
What happens then?
it opens up a whole world of possibilities.
Like, give me an example.
Okay, think about like a wildfire.
Oh, yeah.
A drone with AI could fly over the fire and use real-time data analysis to find the hottest spots.
Wow.
And then it could send that information to the firefighters on the ground.
That would be so helpful.
Right. It could help them be more effective and potentially save lives.
So AI isn't just making drones smarter, it's making them life-saving tools too.
Exactly. And it's not just for emergencies either. Think about search and rescue.
Oh, right, yeah.
An AI drone could search a huge area for missing hikers way faster than people on the ground.
And it could use like thermal imaging and facial recognition.
Exactly.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So real-time data analysis can help in tons of other fields too, right?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
totally. Another one of the articles talked about how AI is used in agriculture to check on crop health.
That makes sense.
The drone flies over a field, analyzes the colors and density of the plants, and can tell if they need more water or fertilizer.
So farmers can get a super detailed view of their crops.
Yep. And then they can make decisions based on the data to improve their yields.
It seems like there's no end to what AI can do with drones.
It really does seem that way. We're just scratching the surface.
It's pretty amazing.
It is, but we got to remember that AI isn't perfect.
Yeah.
There are still some challenges to figure out.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Like, how do you even program a drone to think for itself in the first place?
Well, that's a big one. Developing those AI algorithms is really complex.
I bet.
It takes a lot of expertise, tons of data to train the AI, and a deep understanding of how the tech works, both the good and the bad.
Yeah, and it's not just the algorithms. There's also the challenge of like fitting all that AI into the drone itself.
Oh, right, because it still has to be small and light enough to fly. Exactly. You need powerful processors to handle all the data the AI is processing, but you can't weigh the drone down too much.
So it's a trade-off.
Yeah, and then there's the battery.
Right, because no matter how smart the drone is, it can't fly without power.
Exactly. Even with AI optimizing the flight paths, those batteries only last so long, which limits how far and how long the drone can operate.
That's a big deal, especially if you're using it for something like a search and rescue mission.
Oh, yeah, for sure. You wouldn't want the drone to die in the middle of a search.
So battery tech is holding things back a bit.
It is, but that's why researchers are working on new power sources.
Oh, really? Like what?
Well, things like solar panels and even hydrogen fuel cells.
Wow, that's interesting. So even with these challenges, it seems like AI and drones have a bright future together.
They do, but there's another important piece of the puzzle we have to think about.
What's that?
Regulations.
Oh, right, of course.
All the rules and laws around drones are still being figured out, especially for autonomous flight.
Yeah, that makes sense. You can't just have drones flying around making their own decisions without any rules.
Exactly. So how do we make sure they're used safely?
Right.
It's tricky. On one hand, we want to encourage this technology to grow.
Because it has so much potential.
Exactly. But on the other hand, we need to keep people safe and address concerns about privacy, you know?
Like you don't want some random drone spying on you in your backyard.
Exactly. So lawmakers are trying to find a balance.
I bet that's not easy.
It's not. They're working on things like airspace management rules about data collection and who's responsible if something goes wrong.
Wow. So there's a lot to figure out.
There is. But let's switch gears for a minute.
Okay.
One thing that really caught my eye in those articles was how AI is changing drone photography and videography.
Oh yeah, even without AI, drones have gotten some amazing shots.
Totally. But AI is taking things to a whole new level.
I bet. So how is AI actually making drone photos and videos better?
Well, for one thing, it can optimize the camera settings in real time.
You mean like exposure focus and stuff?
Exactly. Instead of having to adjust everything manually, the AI can do it for you.
So it's like having a professional photographer built into the drone.
Exactly. And it can also deal with tricky conditions like low light.
Oh, right.
If you're shooting in low light, the AI can brighten the image without making it grainy.
So it's like magic.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And that means even amateur photographers can get professional quality footage.
That's incredible.
Hmm.
And AI can help with image stabilization too, right?
Oh, yeah. Definitely. Drones are always moving around, so it's easy to get shaky footage, but AI can analyze the movement and smooth it out.
It's like having a built-in Steadicam.
Exactly. And one of the articles talked about something called computational photography, which sounds pretty high-tech.
It is. It's basically using algorithms to do things with images that we couldn't do before.
Like what?
Well, imagine you want to take a landscape photo with lots of detail in both the bright and dark areas. A regular camera might not be able to capture all of that in one shot,
Right.
but with computational photography, the drone can take multiple pictures with different exposures.
Huh?
And then the AI merges them together to create one perfect image.
Wow, so you're combining the best parts of each photo.
Exactly. And that's just one example.
Yeah.
Computational photography can also be used to create 3D models from drone images, remove unwanted objects from a scene, and even create completely new images from existing data.
Wow, it's like digital art, but with real-world data.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we have drones that can fly themselves, analyze data in real time, and take incredible pictures and videos.
Yeah.
But what about those sci-fi scenes we see in movies with swarms of drones working together? Is that real or just Hollywood?
Oh, it's real, all right, and it's all thanks to AI.
Yeah, it's pretty wild how AI lets those drones work together, like a team, like a flock of birds.
Oh, I get it. So instead of just one drone doing a job, you could have a whole bunch working together.
Exactly, and that opens up some crazy possibilities.
Okay, like what? I'm picturing a swarm of drones putting out a fire or something.
And that could totally happen.
Oh.
One of the articles mentioned a demo by Thales Group where they used a drone swarm for surveillance.
So like imagine a wildfire. Instead of one drone getting footage, you could have a whole swarm covering the entire area.
That would be amazing.
Yeah, they could give firefighters real-time data on how the fire is spreading and help them plan their attack.
Wow, that's next level. And swarms could be used for other stuff too, right? Not just emergencies.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like think about inspecting a huge bridge or a wind farm. A swarm of drones could do it way faster and more efficiently than just one.
That makes sense. And it would be safer too, right? You wouldn't have to send people out to do those dangerous inspections.
Exactly. And there's even talk about using drone swarms for package delivery.
Oh, wow. So like a fleet of drones bringing everyone their online orders.
Yep, coordinating their routes and avoiding obstacles all on their own.
That's like something straight out of a sci-fi movie.
I know, right? AI is pushing the limits of what drones can do.
It really is.
Yeah.
But like we talked about before, there are still some challenges.
Yeah, definitely data management, battery life regulations, all that stuff.
And we can't forget about the ethical side of things too.
Oh yeah, for sure. As drones become more independent, we have to think about who's responsible when something goes wrong.
And what about privacy? All those drones collecting data could be a problem.
Absolutely. It's super important to have those conversations about the potential downsides of this technology, not just focus on all the cool stuff it can do.
Well said.
Oh.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, what's the main thing you want our listeners to take away from all this?
I'd say AI is changing the world of drones in a huge way, and it's creating incredible opportunities in all kinds of fields. But we have to be thoughtful about how we use this technology, consider the good and the bad.
That's a great point. It's an exciting time for sure, but we have to be careful too. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of AI-powered drones. Until next time, keep exploring, keep asking questions, and never stop learning.